Do you want to dominate your market? And not by just shouting louder, but by serving deeper. Today's guest is Sean Garner, and Sean lives and breathes this philosophy. He's a former firefighter turned marketing agency leader, and he's here to drop the truth on how you can get the maximum return on investment from every podcast interview. You see, this isn't just about getting booked on more shows. It's about getting measurable, scalable, and strategic results from each and every appearance. If you've ever felt like your interviews were inspiring, but not converting, or maybe you're wondering how AI, SEO, and podcasting all fit together in your sales funnel, well, Sean's going to lay out a plan that will change the way you view podcast guesting. We'll cover the Marketing Domination Framework, how he turns one 30-minute interview into a month of content, and the secrets that separate just average guests from truly remarkable business building ones. Now, if you're tired of all the tactics without a proven process, then get ready, because this is how serious pros build authority, scale trust, how they dominate their market. Sean, I am thrilled to talk with you today. It's going to be weird because most of the time I'm listening to you at 2x speed as I run at half X, but the Marketing Domination podcast is great. And I wanted to bring you on here today just to talk about, dominating your market, how you use podcasting, podcast guesting, not just to get appearances, to get more results out of everything. So I guess the first question is, what do you mean when you say marketing domination?
Yeah, I love it because so many people think it means something completely different than my actual intention with it. So because it's such a strong, bold word and we use that with our own internal marketing, people think it means like, oh, we're going to go out there, we're going to crush the competition, we're going to beat everyone down. But for me, that is not at all what I mean by marketing domination. Yes, I want your business to be successful, but I'm a Christian, Tom. So I truly believe that God has called each one of us for a very specific purpose. And I believe that business ownership, entrepreneurship is a calling. And if we are called to do something, we are called to do all things as unto the Lord. So we should be doing those things with excellence. So why would I want to be called to go do a business, but just do it with mediocrity? I want to make sure that all things that I do ultimately glorify God, but they're done with a level of excellence. So that I'm going out there, I am dominating my market. I am taking ground because I firmly believe that if you are called to business, there is a specific group of people and a specific person that only you are called to solve and help. And if you're not being bold out there with your marketing and you're not showcasing to how you can actually serve people and help them solve their problems, you're not going to be fully walking into your calling.
We are both speaking from the same hymnal here, right? It's like we want to win, or at least do our best here, not just go through the motions. And the other thing that you really focus on is this idea of it should be simple, consistent, and results driven. Right. And it's, as you say that, it's like, that's not what the world is telling us, or at least most of the marketers that are trying to, confuse the market.
Yeah. So probably about 15 years ago now, I actually was a firefighter before I got into the whole entrepreneurship, business owner, marketing agency owner journey. Worked as a firefighter paramedic for about 6 years. And in the fire service, whenever they're training you, they talk a lot about strategies and tactics. And strategy would be the overall plan of the thing that needs to get accomplished. And the tactic is the individual thing that needs to get done. So for example, if there's a structure fire, we have a strategy for we want to put the fire out, but based upon where the fire started and all that stuff, you have a specific tactic on what needs to be done to get it out. Unfortunately, what I see all the buzzwordy things on marketing for small business owners and entrepreneurs is they're getting sold by all the gimmicks and the tactics, and they don't understand how an individual tactic impacts and influences the overall strategy. So if you don't have a solid strategy, it doesn't matter what tactic that you do, because it's probably only going to work short time, or it's going to be inconsistent because you don't understand how that plugs in. So for us and our approach to marketing, what we do is we want to make sure that we build out a simple framework that we call the Marketing Domination Framework that is long-term, is going to give you longevity with your marketing because it's going to have every aspect of the overall strategy as a solid foundation. So then the individual tactics of, well, what do we need to do to rank in LLMs like ChatGPT and these AI models and rank on Google and stand out on social, and you have those individual tactics, then you can make those things work a lot better. Because if you don't do that, Tom, you're just going to get lost in the noise of being confused of why isn't my marketing working anymore? Because you're just always chasing your tail.
Yeah. And then the answer is just do more of what's not working, right? Just double down on what's not working. We had one client that came to us and, I loved how he said it. He called it Warren Buffett marketing. And I was like, what do you mean by that? And he's like, well, remember how Warren Buffett does investing? And I said, explain it to me. He's like, he won't invest in anything he doesn't understand. If it doesn't make sense to him on the strategic point, he doesn't care how many bells and whistles they have. And he said, it seems like for decades, he's been chasing these gimmicks, right? The tactics, and he's never understood how it fell into the strategy. And sometimes the bells and whistles get so enticing, but he's like, they're not driving the results that I want. So he's like, if I can't understand the strategy behind it, we're not doing it.
Yeah. And when you do that, you can overcomplicate it, because that's the thing about making the marketing simple is simple can sometimes, and consistent can sometimes look boring, but consistency works. I was in the fitness industry for a long time, and people always want to know, like, hey, what's the latest supplement I should be taking, or pre-workout and all of this stuff. And they were looking for like the short-term hack and the thing that they thought they were missing. But it's like, well, I'm not really concerned about what pre-workout you're taking when you haven't even gotten off the couch in 5 years, right? So if we don't have the solid foundation built out, we can be chasing the, flash in the pan buzzword marketing tactic of the month strategy. But if we don't have the foundations in place of just good messaging, having a good funnel in place, knowing strategies to fill the funnel, and then making sure we have processes in place to optimize our sales funnel, we're going to be missing out on opportunities and the people that we're called to serve.
Yeah. And we've got a podcast. So you've been on both sides of the microphone, right?
Yeah.
As a podcast guest and a podcast host. So unpack that for me a little bit, how that fits in to what you see as for modern marketing domination.
Yeah. Tom, you're a business owner, entrepreneur. I'm sure you are not with an excessive amount of extra free time. And most business owners, that's the case. Like, we're busy. If you ask any small business owner, how you doing? How you doing? Well, I'm busy. I firmly believe, and I'm assuming you're going to back this up, video podcasting and video guest podcasting is the greatest return on investment of your time to create content at scale. And this is why I think I am a believer. I try to talk all of our clients into starting a video podcast, going on other video podcasts, because you have to understand how to leverage it. It's not that going on or doing a video podcast is a secret growth strategy. It is a tool. And if you know how to leverage that tool, you can exponentially leverage your marketing outreach and get bigger reach than you ever thought possible. And this is how we've personally used that, if you don't mind me sharing that.
Please.
What we do and how you need to think about leveraging this is how it fits into an overall marketing plan and strategy. So first off, you need to have your foundation set. It doesn't matter what outreach you are doing to fill your funnel if you don't have the foundation set. So for us, we have a framework that we build for our clients. It's called the Marketing Domination Framework. The very first foundation of it is building a sales funnel. The second part is filling a sales funnel. And then the third is optimizing your sales funnel. And then when we use the term sales funnel, it is not a style of website or a software tool that we use. It is a relationship journey of taking somebody from not knowing who you are to being a super fan customer for life. So the foundations we do is we build our sales funnel before we start filling it. That's where we're going to make sure we have clear brand messaging. We've got an awesome website that's set up to convert clients. We've got a lead generator to capture their information. We've got a follow-up sequence that plugs into them. And we got an automated CRM that we're collecting all this data and putting it into. So we have a place to collect the information. Then we have to go to fill the funnel. Tom, that's the most difficult part. Just because you build it doesn't mean they will come. Like the dad joke is Field of Dreams is a great movie, but horrible marketing strategy. So just because you build it doesn't mean that they're going to come. So we have to be able to fill it. So we can do that with two ways. We can do it by paying for it with ads, or we can do it with organic content, networking, and everything else like that. as a business owner, you're busy. And so creating content all the time can be difficult. So video podcasting gives you the greatest lever to be able to pull to fill your sales funnel. So think about this. You could grab your cell phone, you could create a bunch of short form videos, and it might take you an hour to create like 5 of those things. Or I can spend 30 to 45 minutes and I can go on a podcast, being it as a guest or your own. And this is what I'm going to get from that. I'm going to get a long form YouTube video. Then I'm hopefully going to get some like at least 3 to 5 short form videos that I can extract from that. And then we leverage AI to really help us scale that, because a lot of people are using AI wrong, where they're going to ChatGPT and saying, write me a blog article over, how to get more clients or how to fix a plumbing issue, like whatever it is. But that's not having a unique perspective. I've just talked about something I'm an expert in for 30 to 45 minutes. So now there's a ton of context with that transcript I can feed into ChatGPT to write unique perspective blog articles with my perspective of the topic, to create social media content, to create emails to market to my list. And I can take that and I can add it as a podcast show notes page on my website. I can add it as blog articles. I can embed the videos onto it. And Tom, it's so much that you can get from just 30 minutes of work. And so it's not the asset of just creating and doing a video podcast, but it's how you leverage it so you can start driving the right customers through your sales funnel.
And as you said that, you made the comment that as a business owner, spending the time on a podcast is the most productive thing you can do. And as I heard that, I thought of something, the CEO of Haggerty. Now, if you've ever seen any of these classic cars, Haggerty is the largest insurance company for classic cars, Lamborghinis, all the rest of that. And this gentleman had taken 2 hours of his time to come and speak to a group. And if I think I'm busy, I can only imagine how busy he is, right? And he made a point that said, your time is finite. So if you're going to do something, make it more valuable. You're not going to get more time, so make the time more valuable. And I thought about that as you were saying it, because there's so many people that will say, well, I did the interview. No, you spent 30 to 45 minutes on that interview, right? So you got some benefit from that. But how are you going to get all of that from there? And just like you said, repurposing the content, promoting it, doing all of those things, making sure before you spend that 30 to 45 minutes that there's something, a funnel to catch them or something to offer them, because just going out and talking is not the most valuable thing in the world to you, right? If that's the case, just go out and talk to a tree and you're like, well, I worked today. No, you didn't, right? You talked to a tree. But if you can get very strategic, like you said, you can make that the best use of your time. And that's one of the things that we talk about, people. It's like, I know you're busy, right? Everybody's busy, but this is one of those things that leverages your time. So from that standpoint, you can take one interview and get a month's worth of content out of it, not only for the listeners, but for the AI too. And so I really want to dig into how you're getting the most from every podcast interview or episode when you're the host.
Yeah, great question. So I'll start first by episodes that I'm a guest on, because we have a similar process. And this is kind of going to be like do you remember the TV show? And I remember when I was a kid, it was like The Magician's Secrets Revealed, to where like you watch him do this trick and you're like, oh, that's amazing. And then once you see how it's done, you're like, oh, well, that's all it is. That kind of goes back to the first thing that you said earlier of like, we believe that marketing should be simple and consistent. I'm going to peel back the curtain. I'm going to show you the magic trick. And then you're going to go, oh, that's it. Yes, that's it. But that's also the good thing. That's it. That's all it takes. You're doing all this work. So this is how we're going to leverage the thing. So this is how I leverage all the work that's put into getting us onto a show. So when I'm a guest on a show, this is how we leverage it. The first thing is I'm going to make sure that I'm prepped before I show up, because my goal is I've been given an opportunity to go speak to somebody else's audience that hopefully has my potential customers in it. And I'm going to make sure that I'm ready to go whenever the interview starts. So I want to obviously know about the host. I've listened to a few episodes and everything. And based upon some of the maybe preliminary questions they've asked me, kind of have an idea of the way that this episode's going to go. So part of our prep work is also making sure that we have landing pages set up for each show that we go on. So, hey, guess what? Spoiler alert, listeners, if you go to SeanGarner.co/interview valet, there's going to be something special for you. And so what we do is we get that landing page set up before the show goes. And then based upon how the conversation goes, we will have a specific lead generator that will be set up for that audience based upon how the conversation went. So we always have about like 5 or 6 ready to go based upon how the conversation goes. And then afterwards, after the episode is done, I will let my team know that, hey, this is what we talked about on the show. And so let's make sure that this is how the website is set up. So it seems very unique. So when those listeners come on there, they have a unique perspective that it looks like it's a custom page made just for them. The other thing, I want to make sure that I am one of the favorite guests that the host has ever had on their show. So after the episode, I'm always about, hey, Tom, how was the episode? How can I help you? Is there any other industries or people that you're looking to connect with? What are some things that I can help do to promote the episode? When are you going to let me know so I can send out an email to my list? We're going to be having, add it to our website and everything as well. So I want to show them that I wasn't just coming up here to leverage their audience. I am coming here to serve them, because I truly believe this goes to not just podcast guesting, but with your own business, with what you do. If you outserve your competition, you will win every day. So that's part of the secret also with marketing domination is not beating people down, but it's just outserving your competition. And it's truly being passionate about the people that you are called to serve and doing it at the highest level. So then we will go there. And then once that landing page is made, when the episode comes out, I will also take that transcript and then I will create a blog post from it. My team will write a blog post based upon the things that we talk about. They embed that YouTube video on that blog post. Then I will go to the YouTube video of that. I will comment, hey, I hope you guys watched the episode. Hey, make sure to go check out the free resources we have here. And I'll post that in there. Then we'll also share that on social media. All the content that they create for the show, we share that content. And then I create a in the media section for our blog. So I tag that blog as a media appearance. So then that way you go to SeanGarner.co/media, see all these podcast guest appearances and everything. So we have a good resource to hopefully get us on other shows that are of value. And we take this thing, Tom, and we leverage the heck out of it. And then we're always staying in constant communication with the hosts and everything, sharing all the assets that we're doing. And in return, they're super thankful, appreciative. We're getting the extra links and everything added to their website. And it just makes the whole process awesome.
It's like, that is what we teach at Interview Valet. And you do it with excellence. And it's this idea of, what are you optimizing for? More interviews or more results? And I'm a big believer that more is not better, right?
Yeah.
Better is better. So instead of just doing more interviews, do more with every interview, because of all those things that you talked about there's 30 to 45 minutes there that needs to be Sean, right? You're the only one that can show up and perform, right? You're Sinatra, but all those other things that he talked about, the repurposing it, promoting it, making the, we call them welcome pages, to send them back to, that can all be outsourced by other people. Yeah. So you're getting more and more results from every one. The other thing too is the way you do that makes it measurable. And I've heard so many people say, well, you can't measure the results from a podcast interview. Well, no, it's not like Facebook or Google Analytics, but I argue that those aren't perfect either.
Yeah.
But if you send them to the right place, right? If they go to SeanGarner.co/interview valet, they came from listening to this podcast. So you can start to tag them and you can start to see which podcasts are a base hit and which ones are a home run. And that's important, because with marketing, you should always be learning and refining, right? To know what your customers love and what they loathe, and, do more of one and less of the other. So it's really a marketing asset, not just a PR activity.
Yeah. And one thing that like you talked about looking at the data and everything, one thing that we learned early on is originally when we made these guest landing pages, we hid them from Google. So we made them what's called no index pages. So that way they weren't able to find on Google. So we knew with 100% if they went to that landing page, they came from the show. Realized I was missing out on opportunities because as you go on big shows that people are actually Google searching for, if you open those to Google, you can start getting traffic from people that were looking for the show. We're finding that that they were searching for the show and they ended up on our landing page to listen to an episode. And now they got pulled into our funnel because they might have just been searching for the Interview Valet podcast, let's say, but they found our page because it was ranking well and they listened to the episode on our page. And then we end up getting leads just from that.
Oh, that's awesome. And what strikes me too is that it's not only people that are going there, but we're seeing so much of the large language models indexing the podcast interviews. And we started to see leads, in the summer of 2024 from podcast interviews. And in May of 2025, it became our best lead source, right? And people would say, well, how'd you find out about us? Well, Claude, Perplexity, ChatGPT. And I didn't fully understand it. And then there was that study that came out from Cornell that said that traffic from AI converts 9 times better than SEO. And it was that idea that, people go in and they start talking with Chad, right? I remember one gentleman said, how'd you find out about us? Oh, Chad told me about you. And I'm like, Chad, who? It's like, oh, ChatGPT. That's just what I refer to it as. And he had this long conversation and it was like a personal referral. So, I guess maybe looking at that, right? You've been doing this since way before COVID. Same here. What do you see as changing now as we go into 2026?
Yeah, I think that terminology is changing. But again, strategy always prevails. There might be individual tactics they're working, but you need to have a solid strategy. So for example, search engine optimization or SEO, I think has dramatically changed, but the foundations are still in place. So now I've even started, instead of calling it search engine optimization, I'm calling it search everywhere optimization. So it's not just about being found on the top of Google, but being found in these LLMs or large language models like ChatGPT and Perplexity and Claude, and making sure that you have everything set up to show up in those. But I'm going to tell you the secret now. The things that's getting people to rank in these large language models is the exact same things that gets them to rank on Google. There may be some finessing, but there's also more opportunities with it. So again, going back to the video podcast, if you go to most of the AI overviews that you're finding in Google right now, the majority of those results that it's showing is based upon informational keywords. So when you go to Google, it has a really good idea if you're asking a question, if you're trying to find a business, if you're looking to navigate to a certain website or you're wanting to buy something, it knows. It's pretty smart. It's creepy how much it knows. But most of the things that are showing up in these AI overviews are informational keywords. So they know that somebody is looking for information. Well, where it is pulling from a lot of their sources, if you look from it, is YouTube videos. So you going on other people's podcasts, you having your own video, long form content, and even shorts. It's pulling up shorts in these AI overviews as well, talking about the topic and what you are an expert in. That now has an opportunity to pull into these large language models. And if that content is optimized because you're speaking about something that you're an actual expert in, that video is optimized. So there's even landing pages and descriptions and stuff for people to go to. That is then also added to your website as an embedded video. That just, in essence, feeds the beast for all of these different large language models and AI scraping tools and just data sources to show. So that gives your business the opportunity to show up and dominate as the expert you really are in the field that you have.
So what mistakes do you see people making today that they think they're doing the right thing? The tactic seems to make sense, but they're not driving the results with it. What's the common things that you're seeing?
Yeah. So our process for marketing domination is build, fill, and optimize a sales funnel. And it's done in that order for a reason. The big mistake that I see people doing is they're doing the right things, but at the wrong time. And so they might be doing something that is correct in their marketing. And that's why they're so frustrated, Tom, because they're like, man, all these experts online are saying I should be doing this. And it is right. But because it wasn't done in the right order within their marketing, it's not working for them. So it's not that the tactic that they were doing is wrong, but it's often the timing of which they do it. We had a client that was spending tons of money with an SEO provider, and they couldn't figure out why it wasn't working. Well, once we stepped in and we took over their marketing and we redid everything, we went all the way back to the basics. Even though this company, they had been in their industry for over a decade, they had solid traction for everything for their branding. They didn't have the foundational stuff done. So we went back through and we started off, and we start all of our clients with brand messaging. So I'm a certified story brand coach. So we use the story brand framework to help our clients clarify their brand message and make sure that it's really, really clear and solid. Because if you don't have a clear brand message as the foundation for all of your marketing, well, your landing pages aren't going to sound right or connect with customers. Your social content, your ads, overall strategy is going to break because you don't have that foundation. And then once you have the branding foundation of your messaging, then you can distribute out and start building out landing pages that look like you, sound like you, and actually convert, lead generators that attract the type of people that you're trying to reach, and then follow-up email sequences that sound like you and talk to their pain points. Then you can start figuring out, now that the foundation is set, that's why we can start approaching some of these tactics and why they might not have been working the first time. That's
going to be a great clip right there. And I think the big thing is the process, right? Yeah. Like you said, there's so many tactics out there, and it's like, well, this influencer said to do this. This influencer said to do that. Well, it works if you've got the process set up, or it may work for that. It made me think of, when I wrote the book about podcast interview marketing, people would come back and say, well, do you have to do all of those things? I'm like, no, you're a grown adult. You don't have to do anything, right? You can figure out, to try to do it, but I'm giving you a recipe that works, right? If you bake a cake and you don't put the baking soda or baking powder or whatever it is in there, don't be surprised when you don't get the same results. And no, you can't, when it comes out of the oven, sprinkle it on the top, and the process has to be there. So I think that is a great idea there of often as entrepreneurs, we're all action, right?
Yeah.
I want to go out on a podcast and talk. Well, who do you want to talk to? I haven't thought about that. What do you want to talk about? Anything. What do you want people to do afterwards? Buy my stuff, right? It's like, you got to think through the strategy before you just start firing off on the tactics. And that's different than the people that are selling the tactics will tell you.
Yeah. Think about this. You could go, let's imagine somebody came out to you and said, man, I started running around my neighborhood to lose weight, but everybody's looking at me funny, and my feet hurt really bad. I'm like, okay, well, tell me about your process. Well, I wake up, I go outside, I start running around the neighborhood, then I come back, then I put my pants on, and then I put my running shoes on, and I sit on the couch. Like, whoa. Okay. Technically, yeah, those are all the right things to do, but let's do them in the right order. Let's start with putting our pants on before we go outside and seeing the neighbors. Let's put our shoes on so we're prepared. And then you go outside and run. It's like, oh, that's why it hasn't been working. You can be doing the right things in the wrong order and not get a result at all.
So, as you look forward here, what do you see? Where's the puck going in marketing? If you want to dominate your market going forward, what sort of things should you be thinking about? Big picture strategy. And I think too often people will say, well, use this app or use this hack, right? It only makes sense if you understand the overarching thing. So where do you see the puck going these days?
Yeah, I would say, not to keep beating it up, but I do think that video content, long form video content, is going to be key, and especially conversational long form video content, because everything is AI based. Like they're calling it AI slop. Like you can go on and read a blog article that's most likely generated by AI, most likely being read by AI bots and crawlers and stuff like that. And it's not unique. You don't actually know if that's somebody's unique perspective. If you truly want to stand out online and dominate, I very much believe every business is going to need to have some type of video, conversational, educational based content like video podcasting to truly stand out, because and maybe even this is going to change, but it's the only way to actually prove your expertise. Like, this is a interview that was not scripted. You are talking to another human being that is asking questions. You're having to know this topic on the fly. This is how you stand out online. It would be easy, Tom, for you to field these exact same questions to anybody, them to go into ChatGPT, type in the answers and get a response that they could throw on a landing page. And it would make everybody look the same. If you truly want to stand out in your business, in your industry, in your field, whatever it is, this can't be faked. You might think I look goofy, but you can't argue that I'm at least passionate about and seem somewhat knowledgeable on the topic. And that opportunity can only come across currently in long form conversational video content like video podcasts, because it can't be faked.
Yeah. And it's this idea of, for years, people were trying to get attention, right? And you can buy attention, right? I've got to break through the noise. I've got to be seen. Well, now you can do that, but it doesn't mean you're going to get the business. People now are looking for that authority. They're looking for that authenticity. And just like you said, every time I pick up the phone and I get a cold call, right? I'm like, oh, this is AI, right? Just hang up on them. Or you get that email and, when
to whom it may concern. Yeah.
Joe Saul-Sehy from Stacking Benjamins posted something recently. And of all the pitches he got, some of them said, "Dear Stacking." Some of them said, "Dear Benjamins." One of them said, "Dear Joe Saul-Sehy, Cumulus Radio," right? All of those things. And it's like, our BS filter goes up and it's like, oh no, that's AI slop. And while AI can do podcasts, right? And you go to like Notebook LM, right? I love doing that, dropping a book in there and it can give me a quick 30-minute podcast overview on it. There is no doubt that that is AI generated. And any search engine that looks at our recording here or any person, they're going to say, oh no, that's human, right? They talk over each other. They laugh. Tom drops the G's in ING, right? I grew up in Chicago. It's normal. But all of those little things that people are looking for, and it's like, yes, that's authentic. And it's that authority. So it's not just, I heard somebody call at times AI can be crap at scale, right?
Yeah.
This is really human things. And if I want to know historical information, I can ask ChatGPT. But if I want ideas, insights, where the future is going, that comes from conversations. And, there's a lot of people that made a lot of money saying you're one funnel away. And while I believe in automation, I also believe that we're all one conversation away, right? The best things in my life came through a conversation. I did not meet my bride, because I had the perfect funnel and ran Facebook ads.
Yeah. I also think that you're in order for this to keep progressing and keep moving forward, you can't overly automate things, because I think especially as small business owners, it's very different if you're a big enterprise company, like we talked about before the show started, like a Salesforce, thousands of employees and stuff like that. A key that you have, and to me, your secret sauce as a small business owner, is you can make pivots. You don't have to go and find boardroom or stock shareholder approval before you want to try something. You can, crazy Tom, be human and talk to people. I think that with all of these AI tools and stuff, people are wanting to automate all these chat bots and all of these things like that, and AI answering services and stuff, which I understand, but that should be the net that in case somebody else can't get to it, it catches. You shouldn't rely on automation and AI, especially as a small service business, to do all the work for you. That should be the filter or the net to make sure that nothing gets missed. If you truly want to have an opportunity to stand out in a world that is getting AI shoved everywhere, be human and have a real conversation and a real connection with somebody.
Yeah. And I think that's the leverage of big business versus small business, right? Enterprise can run ads. They can do the AI. They can do, they can do it at scale. We can do it personally, right?
Yeah.
The CEO of the biggest competitor out there probably doesn't have the time, or won't make the time to go on podcast interviews, but you can talk directly to your ideal clients, and that can make all the difference in the world, right? I can think of one of our early clients, Gavin Zaklinski from Acuity Scheduling. right? Gavin got on there and he talked about why he built the system for his mom and how she used it as a hairdresser. And then other people started to use it and how his team is all in New Jersey. Well, after you hear that, you start to use Acuity, right? And what's the difference between that and Schedule Once and Calendly and all the rest of that? I don't know. They all do about the same things, but you know what? I don't know if Calendly is based out of Bangladesh. Yeah. I know Gavin. I like his team, right? So it's fast forward now after building his business on those relationships. He got acquired by Squarespace. It was their first acquisition. And a big part of that was his churn rate was so much lower because it's one thing to cancel Calendly, but I don't want to cancel on Gavin, right? I know him. So I think that's one of those things that is our leverage as small business owners, that we can do things that the big companies can't.
Yeah. People connect with people, not logos. So I know that you're super excited about your logo and your business and you want to wear it on your hat and wrap your vehicle and like show everybody your business cards, but people aren't going to remember your logo no matter how much you spent on it. I know branding's important, but they're going to connect with people. And that's where if you have a solid foundation with your marketing of having that clear messaging to where you can not talk about yourself, talk about your customers and the problems that they're dealing with, you're going to have that authentic connection and they're going to see you as the expert because they feel like you are empathetic towards them because guess what? You're being a human.
Well, Sean, what's ordinary to you is amazing to others. I love how you brought this idea of how we can dominate markets and also just to make it clear and concise and driving real results. So if somebody wants to get in touch with you, or what's the next steps? You sort of alluded to it before.
Yeah, we already showed the magic trick. So what I would say for everybody that is on here, go to SeanGarner.co/interview valet. And based upon what we talked about on this episode, I definitely want to make sure that everybody takes our website wireframe. So what this does is this going to give you the visual blueprint you can take and you can match up to make sure that your website has the 10 things that your homepage must have in order to increase conversion. So if you are doing video guest podcasting or you have an existing website or you're getting ready to build a new one, use that as your wireframe and your filter to make sure that it's set up to where it just doesn't look pretty, but it actually makes you money.
Excellent. Sean, thank you so much.
Thank you so much, sir.
If you're still thinking of podcast guesting as just a PR activity, well, you're wasting your valuable time and you're leaving money and momentum on the table. Now, Sean Garner just walked us through how to transform every interview into a high leverage marketing asset, from pre-show prep to the custom welcome pages, from repurposing AI enhanced content to nurturing leads. This is a reproducible system to scale trust and authority. It's not podcast guesting. It's podcast interview marketing. Your time is limited. You can't make more of it, but you can intentionally make it more valuable. That's why it's vital to make every appearance count. One conversation can drive a month's worth of content. It connects you with ideal clients and even feed the AI models that now drive visibility in Google, ChatGPT, and beyond. So here's your next step. Pick an upcoming interview. Build the welcome page. Introduce a valuable lead magnet. Then promote it. Promote it like crazy. Because it's not about doing more interviews. It's about getting more results from every interview. Let's stop talking about tiring tactics and start leveraging a proven process. Until next time, stay strong. The world needs to hear you now more than ever.